Heavenly Father, help us to make right decisions for the people of Connor County. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Small.
Here.
Brady.
Here.
Brumman. Here. Johnston.
Here.
Yax. Hughes.
Excused. Set the motion to approve minutes from March 19th. So moved. Can I get a second?
Support.
Who is supported? Any comments, questions, concerns? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Start with public comment, 3 minutes per person, identify yourself and your township. Nope, okay. So we're gonna add to presentations, Scott Rice is gonna come online with us and give us a emergency manager update. But we will begin with Jennifer Lewick.
Thank you. Good afternoon. So I'm here because MGT, which is the company that does our CRP contracts with the Friend of the Court office, has asked us to modify the contract. Basically, the difference in what they are asking us to do amounts to a quick change of about $120.49 for the annual year, or for the whole year. So what they provide for us,
$125.
$120.49.
We're gonna pass the hat around to the audience.
So the contract, but are you familiar with what MGT does for us? So the CRP contracts and all the time.
We may be,
that
but
they do.
for the sake of recording, why don't you give us a
I can give you
short
a little
breakdown.
short breakdown of what they do. So they prepare our annual Title IV Cooperation Reimbursement Program. That's the contract they have. They help us do invoices and documentation required for all of the reimbursements under the Title 40 CRP program. They develop and maintain any required depreciation schedules for our equipment purchases that are over $5,000. And then a big part of what we see with them is assistance with a lot of the reports that we have to do through eGrams, including user verification form, tax data confidentiality questionnaire, obligation report, security assessment, LIPs amendments, and the annual CRP budget. They also take mine and Kim Fenner's time budget sheets and help us calculate those for the reimbursement back to the county. So what the big change is for this $120.49 is the fact that they have not made a change in the cost of reviewing and preparing and sending us those sheets since the inception of the service, and they're increasing it. So it will not, for Alcona County, $120.49, and because of that change, they're asking us to sign the contract. So I'm here today to ask the board to approve the chairman to sign this contract so that we can get executed.
The balance of the $120 is what?
The balance of approximately, what do you mean?
In addition to,
Oh, we already have a budget for $6,000. So 6,000 is what it already is. So that's, yeah, I'm sorry. So it's something we budget already. It's already been, this is a change.
I would so move to authorize the chair, to approve and authorize the chair to sign the adjusted budget with MGT.
1 second.
who was seconded, can you move around $120? Easy enough?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
If it even necessary.
You can come again.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I want to
This
ask,
is that.
yeah, sure, I'll sign it after she
Thank you.
figures out where.
Thank you. Who was the second?
There you go.
I'm all set?
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Next is the NEMSCA annual report.
That's me.
That's you.
Good afternoon, everybody. How's everybody doing today?
Good.
Good. Just an FYI, the roads are getting really slushy. I came from Oscoda and he came from Alpena, which I did bring a special guest. I don't know if he needs to be officially added in, but he's going to be talking a little bit about a wonderful opportunity initiative that will be effective for Alcona County residents, among other people too. So my name is Frances Olani. I'm the Strategy and Development Director for Northeast Michigan Community Service Agency, otherwise known as NEMSCA, because we say it incorrectly, right? It's like the NEMSCA. We are your community action agency here in Alcona County. I know that many of you have been here for a while and have heard my spiel. It's always wonderful to come back to Alcona County, which is where I grew up. So I love seeing the familiar faces around the world. And thank you for allowing me some time to talk about the exciting things happening and that have happened in the last fiscal year. So when you open up the annual report, it's just a reminder what our mission is. Why am I here today? Because I believe in our mission at our agency, which is to enhance the quality of life empower individuals, and strengthen our communities, including Alcona County. You can see the service map below indicates what our core coverage area is. The 11 counties in that circle, of course, Alcona County being one of those. Basically, what that means is that we are designated as your community action agency. However, you'll see that there are many other counties outside of that circle that we provide at least one program. Most of the time, it's Head Start preschool program. Moving on to the next, the Roscommon County. So you want to know why it's dark? Do you know why? Do you want me to explain, or do you want to?
Please. You have the floor.
So Roscommon, I like to say, is loved by two community action agencies. So Roscommon is actually under the Northwest Community Action Agency umbrella, which is housed out of Traverse City, headquartered out of Traverse City. However, we still provide a lot of programs in that county, including all of our aging programs, our homeless and prevention programs, and I believe our weatherization program. But the Head Start and some of the other programs are provided by our sister agencies, so that's why it's that different color. You think light blue?
Yes.
You know what? Jot that down for you, and we'll get the next year. I'll make a little asterisk that says, if you're Commissioner Brumman, she wants that one less dark. Okay, moving on to the next page. This is just a snapshot of 4 things I wanted to highlight this year. Number 1, sometimes internally we call our agency the agency that provides programs from cradle to grave, because we provide programs for people when they first find out they're pregnant, which is through our early Head Start program, all the way up from infant toddlers to our preschool program, some of the programs that are through our school system. And then we also have a variety of programs in what's called our Sunset Division, or it's our Area Agency on Aging Division. If you go down to number 3, that means that we are also designated as the Area Agency on Aging. So all of these programs that are provided to our senior citizens are underneath that division or that umbrella. We have received for 4 times the Detroit Free Press Top Workplace Awardee, so we're very proud of that internally. And we've been around for actually 59 years, providing these well-needed programs in this area. To the right side, this is a brand new addition this year to our annual report. I hope you like it. We have a breakdown of how many people per county we provided programs in the last fiscal year. So obviously, you get drawn right away to Alpena, Iosco, but a lot of that's because of the higher population, right? So you can see what Alcona ranks for, how many people we provided programs for. And then below that, this is an interesting graph. This is a breakdown per age. So the highest levels, or the highest age groups regarding what programs they receive through us, are either 0 through 5 or over 60. And then everything in between that. So that just really shows you the demographic of who we are providing our programs to. The next page is a snapshot of our senior leadership for our agency. And at the top, you can see that we have Lisa Bowen and a quote from our executive director, CEO. To the right is the breakdown of our board and how it's structured. So you might remember from the last few years that I presented that our board is pretty unique. We have what's called a tripartite board. So what that means is 1/3 of our board are elected officials. Historically, that is county commissioners. So we have had Commissioner Small on our board as our Alcona County elected official. So thank you for being on our board and attending our meetings and having that discussion and that support for our programs. The next sector is private, which is our private citizens that have some sort of expertise that they want to bring to the table. And then finally, we have our consumer sector. Our consumer sector consists of low income or people that represent the low income. Very important to have 1/3 of our board in that sector so that we can hear their voices when it comes to our programs. The next page, this is the fiscal aspect of our annual report. On the left, it shows how we're funded. On the right, it shows the expenditures. You see that there's one thing that we're always very proud to mention on page 9. It's that percentage in the circle. 4%, or technically it's just under 4%, is what we call our indirect rate. That's our administrative costs. So basically, the cost for IT, HR, all of that. And you're right, thank you for pointing that out. We're very proud of that, because a lot of times that number can be a lot higher. And so we've been running pretty consistent for many, many years.
Typically about 10%, I believe, in
Yes.
other agencies.
Exactly. Yep. The next two
A lot of
pages,
other agencies that would like to be at only 2%.
right.
You must be the ones you're in charge of that, right?
Oh, yes.
All right, after the, continue after the meeting, okay?
Continue, please, I'm sorry to have interrupted you.
That's okay. It's all fun. The next two pages are the really fun pages, right? When I pull this data from my team and say, give me the numbers, okay? We want to see how many lives we've touched in the last fiscal year with all of our programs. And it never ceases to amaze me when we look at these numbers. And that number in the green, a total of 17,830 individuals were served in our coverage area, which is pretty amazing. To the right, you guys have heard this spiel before, but it's really important to me. Data is very necessary. However, data is not the most important thing, because when you think about the data, you have to remember that these are lives. These are individuals. So only 2 of those 17,830 stories are shared in this annual report, but they're pretty significant, so I wanted to share those with you, that you can read at a later time. Finally, the exciting page is what are some really innovative initiatives NEMSCA has been involved in the last fiscal year. The highlights, the number one, I believe I talked about this last year, is that there's something that's called the Child Care Innovation Initiative. So we being NEMSCA, partnered with the Quad County Child Care Coalition, which the Quad County is Alcona, Iosco, Ogama, and Aranac. And we partnered with Develop Iosco and NEMCOG to see what we can do to find out what the issues are with this childcare desert that's happening and what solutions we can provide. And then we came up with a very extensive report that's available on our website. This was about a year ago. And said, okay, here's what we come up with. But we didn't just stop there. We continued on and actually came up with one of the solutions. And I hope to come back and talk about it. There's this new organization that just started. It's called the Child Care Back Office, CCBO, because acronym, why not? And we hired an executive director. I'm on the board of this. And what this will allow us to do is it's a statewide organization that will provide back office resources to childcare providers, HR, training, recruitment, payroll. Because as you know, many childcare providers, they don't have the bandwidth. They're focusing on what they should be focusing on, right? So we'll be able to get this up and running and provide that support. You can see lists of other things that we were involved in, but this is where I want to introduce my colleague Jeff Meehan, because I wanted to have him come here to talk a little bit about PACE Northeast Michigan.
Thanks, Matt.
Yep, and if you want to explain the relationship.
Absolutely.
All right, thanks.
So thank you, guys. I'm here with Fran, kind of representing NEMSCA as of today. I'm very happy to say that in probably 2 months, I will no longer be employed by NEMSCA. I'll be employed by a new organization, PACE Northeast Michigan. So PACE is a new program in this community, but it is not a new program either across the country or in the state of Michigan. What it is and what it stands for, another acronym, is the Program of All-Inclusive Care for the Elderly. And what PACE is it's a Medicare and Medicaid program that provides in-home as well as in-center services for seniors with the ultimate goal of keeping them out of nursing home care. So this is for seniors who are eligible for nursing home level of care, but who want to remain in their homes. So what we do is we provide comprehensive services, including primary care, rehabilitation services. We'll have physical therapy, as well as occupational therapy, a day center, in-home services, medical services, as well as chore services, transportation to and from our day center, as well as medical appointments, and a whole bunch of more services, including laundry, meals, services that are, typically provided by senior centers. This will be specifically provided to the participants of the program. I did give you guys a packet. This packet is from the PACE Association of Michigan. So this really gives a good overview of PACE in Michigan and what the program is, who it serves, the eligibility criteria. And then I did include it in the packet, attach my card. So we're at the point where we're going to be doing our readiness review with Michigan Department of Health and Human Services in May, with the goal that we are open and operational 90 to 120 days after that review. So if all things go well, we couldn't be enrolling participants as soon as September or October of this calendar year, which we're very, very excited about. So really, PACE wasn't specifically on the agenda today, so what I wanted to do is give you guys the packet as well as my contact information, and then offer up my time, so to present either to this, this group of commissioners again, or any other community organization. I have them in front of the Chamber of Commerce up in Alpena, Team RC up in Presque Isle, the Lions Club, others. So I really want to bring awareness to this program because I really think it's going to be very, very impactful for Northeast Michigan.
If you have a client, or someone who becomes a client, how is if they are already with a medical provider, how will that interface with your program?
Very good question. So a majority of people who choose to enroll in a PACE program come to us for primary care services also.
But what if they already are with, do they tether those ties?
So historically, I will say within the last 3 to 5 years, PACE programs have started to partner with local area primary care physicians. So if we want to do that and we partner and the participant wants to keep their physician, then we would allow 1 or 2 visits per year for those annual visits to go to that primary care physician. And the PACE program is the payer of those services. So that participant wouldn't be paying the bills because we're also the insurer, right? So if they want to keep their physician, I would be more than willing to look at an arrangement where they can do that. With that being said, PACE programs, they have what's called an interdisciplinary team model of care, and that team are the ones who ultimately make decisions. So that's what's really attractive about this model, is we no longer are going to someone outside of the community for approvals, like Blue Cross Blue Shield, for example. All of those authorizations and approvals happen with our team. So it would be up to that interdisciplinary team to determine how much services would be provided or allowed to be provided with their own physician. So long story short, yes, you could keep your own provider and still enroll in a PACE program.
Neat.
Awesome.
Where are you located at?
Good question, Terry. So we are going to be located in Alpena. So we're actually right across the street from the NEMSCA office in the Bear Point Shopping Plaza. So used to be where Big Lots was and Joanne Fabrics. Unfortunately, those two organizations.
Just me.
You know what's going on
I
there.
got it.
So we the building that used to be the People's Department Store is
Yeah,
our
yeah,
PACE center. So we were able to negotiate an exceptional rate for that space, and we have a long-term lease, and we're investing a lot of money into a beautiful 17,000 square foot PACE center.
I'm sorry, when's the building gonna be done, you know?
So we should have certificate of occupancies and all the inspections with fire marshals and everyone this month. So now that we're actually in April, we're coming to the end with our readiness review in May. And they look at the physical space in our center also. So by the end of this month, we're gonna be doing terminal cleanings and setting up furniture and equipment, clinic, everything like that. So I will say we started construction last July, so less than 1 year to renovate 17,000 square feet. So I'm really excited that we've got to this point.
Sure, if you would just, how that transportation service will work.
Absolutely. So PACE is Medicare and Medicaid program. So our participants are eligible for all the services that would be eligible under each of those programs. Medicaid covers transportation, right? So if a participant needs transportation from their home to a clinic appointment, so it could be a cardiologist, could be Ann Arbor, could be Traverse City, we provide those services. In addition, from their home to our center, so anyone in this county could enroll in PACE, we would pick them up and bring them to the day center, and we would bring them home at the end of the day. So PACE is a unique, it is, it really is. So transportation, we have a combined transportation effort where we're contracting transportation with Thunder Bay Transportation Authority, as well as we plan to purchase 1, maybe 2 buses that we can utilize for those drive and wait type of appointments. So if we have like one participant that needs to go to Ann Arbor for a specialist appointment, we'll take care of that instead of the big TDTA buses. But PACE, when someone enrolls in the program, typically there's 0 out-of-pocket costs for any of the services we provide, which is really, really amazing.
How does that work with the VA?
Really good question. So historically, not well. There wasn't a good partnership between PACE and the VA. Just in January of this year, a new act, the Bob and Elizabeth Dole Act, was passed and allows PACE programs to now partner with the VA and the VA to enroll their participants in PACE. So this year is really going to be in Michigan, a big turning point for PACE and the VA. And I'm comfortable at this point, the ink isn't dry yet, but our medical director for the PACE program will be Dr. John McMaster from Alcoa Health.
Really?
So Dr. McMaster is going to lead this program, and he has history at the VA, so that's why I bring this up, Terry, because he has those connections. And I want to serve veterans as much as we can, as well as anyone else in the community. So it is. I kept him from retiring, yeah. So he will be working with us.
We all knew it.
I know, we can't let them completely retire. So the good thing about this program is we do have lots of support from Alcona Health, Thunder Bay Community Health, as well as My Michigan Health. They all have representation on my board of directors, and they are very supportive, knowing the impact that this program will have. So I'm very, very excited to work with Dr. McMaster. He and I went down to East Lansing earlier last month for a PACE meet and greet event, as well as a 10-year celebration of the association. So he's eager to start with us, and he will be leading our program as a contracted physician with Alcona Health. So he's still going to be connected with Alcona Health Center as he leads our program.
Oh, that's neat.
I happen to know you've already signed a contract with TVTA
Correct.
to provide transportation to people in Alcona County up to it.
Absolutely. And what's exciting about that, Terry, is initially with our startup and our build, we had budgeted hundreds of thousands of dollars to purchase buses and the fleets and the insurance and everything that comes with it. TBTAs knows what they're doing. They've got those buses, they've got the mechanics. So I'm hoping that that relationship not only helps us at our start with cost savings, but long term. I think it's a good contract on both sides.
Nice work,
All right.
Fran.
Well, that's all Jeff. Pace
So,
is all
and
Jeff.
guys, I do want everyone to know I'm an open book type of person, so on my card has my email, my office number, as well as my cell phone. Anyone in the community can reach out to me anytime. I want people to learn about this program. You guys can see on page 5 or 6 of this packet, the other PACE programs in the state. PACE has been around in Michigan since 1994. It has never been in Northeast Michigan, so it's a proven model. It's time for it. It's spot on. So I'm excited about this. I want the community to be excited about it. So, you're not going to hurt my feelings if some random person calls me. I'm excited to hear from them. I'm excited to tell the community about this. So.
Yeah,
I
exciting.
would like to invite you to one of our veterans coffee hours.
Perfect. I would love to come.
I will give you, I will, right, you get into details.
Thank
The
you.
high school does one too. I'll get, reach out to Mrs. Sackler there
Okay,
at the high school. They, National Honor Society puts down.
very good.
So that'd be another good
Good
point
opportunity.
of
to look
contact
at.
for you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And for sure, contact Tony.
Okay.
I have this contact information. for you.
Yeah,
great.
Can we answer any other questions regarding NEMSCA overall, the annual report, any of our programs, or the exciting new PACE of Northeast? What's that? We ran out of time, is that what you
No,
said?
no, come back. anytime.
I was gonna say, you guys took some of my time.
One quick question.
Yeah.
What is our, and I think I knew this, but what is the total employees of?
Oh, you know what, Terry, it changes day by day, honestly. We're typically hover around 690 to 710.
Yeah.
If we were fully but we have 110 openings right now.
Yeah.
So if we were fully rostered, we'd be well over 800 staff in our agency, so yeah. Good question.
Hard to get good people.
Well, and then, like I said, lack of daycare, lack of transportation, a lot of these other things make it difficult for employment as well, so. All right, well, thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you.
We'll see you on Friday.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Participants up there.
Hey, John, listen, anything? Hey, John, are you listening? Is Scott ready to come in? Have you heard from Scott Rice? Usually listens. I've heard his shout down the hallway. They can find out. Maybe the last two.
Thank you.
Excited. And John. John's in a meeting.
John.
Masters?
Hartley.
Oh, that's right.
That John is John.
You gotta keep them happy. Where are you headed?
Are you traveling?
So I went to my mom's house.
Josh, send him a link.
Oh.
So when he's available, we'll bring him in. Okay. All right, one on the claims.
I'll bring donuts. Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to pre-authorize claims and open claims presented for payment between 3/19/2025 and 4/1/2025 for check numbers 157-142 to 157-266 and e-checks 2592 to 2606 for a grand total of $692,839.21. Who was supported? Any questions? Roll call.
Johnston,
Yes.
Small,
Yes.
Brumman,
Yes.
Brady.
Yes. Next up, Rodney Cordes contacted me, about the Forest Township ordinance amendment. They would like us to approve it today, if at all possible. Has to do with blight.
Yeah, you're gonna make a motion to approve.
Yep.
Yeah. We approve the Hawes Township blight ordinance.
Oh, I will second.
Presented.
This roll call is? All in favor?
Aye.
Yes. All opposed? Motion carries. Finance report. Transport, so we met today, we continue to, I should say that the, treasurer's office continues to, work on our year end closing up. Our audit is going to be, April 14th through 17th. What else for finance? There was some monies identified that will carry, I don't know the exact number yet, but we do have money that's going to carry over from last year going to the, general fund balance, so.
More than originally, because there was some already, right?
There's some, it's a little bit more. I'm not comfortable saying numbers right now, but we'll see. It's not bleak, let's put it that way. Not completely bleak. It's only sort of bleak. As far as finance goes, let's see, what else? Finance wise.
Finance usually did pay our last trade capital.
Yeah, we're square with cherry capital for now. And that's it, finance, personnel.
Personnel handbook, we done that.
So, yep, next, if the department heads wanna come, they can, it's all right, on the, would be the 16th of April, at 10 a.m. We're going to have a conference call with, Acrisure. And they are going to talk to us about their services for looking at how we run our employment here and how our systems are set up for that, and you know, what they can offer to help us streamline or change, or and how much it costs, obviously. So it's just an exploratory call, but all department heads are welcome to come if they'd like.
Or if they can give us a question, if they got some.
Yeah, if you have questions, yeah, forward them,
Yeah.
for sure.
Time?
10 a.m.
10 a.m.
And the goal is to, you know, help us to, you know, maybe get streamline our contracts, get our handbook all squared away and updated, a lot of things that can be helped. The only thing we talked about in personnel this morning was, the possibility of looking into, having, a new module for, BSNA to handle time, you know, time input. Right now, we're doing it on, the old fashioned, write it on a piece of paper, submit it to the clerk's office. So we're gonna do some exploratory things there to see what the cost would be to have that additional module for BSNA. Basically, you could punch in and out right on your phone, or if you don't have a smartphone, you can go to a tablet in the office. It's just some exploratory stuff to try to guide us into the next century a little bit from where we were.
Trina didn't have the answer. Didn't we try that at EMS for a while? Wasn't it on their phones? They were doing their time.
I don't remember that either.
I don't remember that.
Must have been me. I was in a fog or something. I thought we had that once.
Is that other company you work for?
Maybe.
Maybe it was something different. Maybe it was a time, maybe it was something different. Regardless, so, we're trying to look at some, ways to improve, you know, not to say that anything's broken here, but just improve processes and streamline and make things easier for everybody. And that's, unless you have anything else, Craig, that's it for personnel. Treasurer's report?
I just have a few things. March 31st was the deadline to pay on the 22 taxes. We did foreclose on 16 properties. We just got information from Title Check today that the auction is gonna be on September 3rd, which is a Wednesday, and it's online. Cheryl's wrapping up, settling, getting everything settled with the townships. That paperwork and all that information is coming to a head to where we can settle with the townships. We're preparing for the auditors, like Adam said, they're gonna be here the 14th through the 17th, so we do a long list of information that we do need to provide for them, so we're preparing for that. And that's about all I got.
Okay, thank you very much.
Well,
Yeah.
so given yesterday was the beginning of the big push for exit tax, April 1st, I think is when they're pushing it out. Could you give just a brief, and maybe it's Cheryl's, I think you know, so if you're getting foreclosed on, is that already too late for you to enter into some sort of a payment arrangement? Does that have to happen before the foreclosure?
You just have to contact us and we can. work with
And we
that.
do that, right?
Yes,
If
we do.
somebody's having a hard time,
Absolutely.
we'll make payments, they don't lose their home or
Correct.
just.
Yep.
That's been kind of one of the big mantras of the exit tax movement is that people are losing their homes, and that may happen, but
Yeah, we do have some on payment plans. Mhm.
are there, you know, any of these are their houses? Are they homes or are they all
I
property?
think a couple of them are.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Clerk's report.
We finished up the MMRMA renewal questionnaire. I gave a portion of it to the sheriff, portion goes to IT, and then some of it's EMS, just updating of any of the vehicles, or we didn't have any major property, anything really change other than basically the vehicles and whatnot. So that part is complete, and I'm assuming, I already did a brief overview with Bob Hout, our representative. So the next thing that we're putting together will be what our renewal will be, which will be in July. From the past, basically, the longer that we're in that pool, the more, we earn back in credits. So far, it seems to be whatever the increase is, that pool that we get back is covering whatever the increase has been so far, so that part's good. Like Sheila said, the auditors will be here from the 14th through the 17th. I believe in the minutes it says the 16th, so that wasn't here. And also they didn't provide us with anything, so we're just assuming that it's gonna be the same sheet to start preparing for and getting all the reports done. The same as what we did last year. This Friday in the afternoon, I have an elections training for the May election, because there are, of the 9 townships, I believe there's 3 of them that are new clerks. So we're gonna steal the commissioner's room for the afternoon, and it's a small group, and you'll feel comfortable to ask questions and get out the equipment and do more of a hands-on training for them. Carolyn, I did go in and do the opioid report, so we're good for another 6 months there. And we also, to be in compliance for our office, just completed the OSHA report as well. And I think that's all I got.
Okay, thanks. Sheriff's report.
Thanks for excusing me last time. My other sheriff gave a lightning report.
Oh, she's gonna be here.
Easy. I'm sure it was fine. What's in with everything? Yeah, so I was gone because I attended the MIRMA, Lower Peninsula Law Enforcement Advisory Committee and the Michigan Sheriff's Association meeting were at the same time, the same day in Lansing, so I did attend both of those in person in Lansing, and that's when the undersheriff was here. On the 20th, I held a courthouse security meeting. We put that off for a week. I don't remember why now, but maybe somebody wasn't going to be here, but we put it off a week and had it a week later. And Mr. Yachts, Commissioner Yachts attended that. We discussed some options for some courthouse security, staffing, and we'll talk about those things a little bit more coming up. The other things we discussed is some training for active shooter, active violence in the courthouse, along with a follow-up drill after the training at some point. So we'll be scheduling those in the near future. Coincidentally enough, on March 21st, I think it was a Friday, and the Upper Review came in and wanted to do an article with me about frauds and scams. And not that there's a real uptick in them, but it's just a ongoing thing in the county. And coincidentally, after she left, we had a $500 email scam that came in that somebody was a victim to. A $32,500 crypto scam. So a village of Lincoln, not village, I guess, a resident of Lincoln outside the village, plus $32,500 that she had wrapped up in crypto. That's a lot. You know, so my big spiel is that, you know, we're not getting robbed at gunpoint, we're not getting carjacked, we're not getting murdered too often around here. But every day we're getting robbed by these people and we never hear about it. And so people are really in financial ruin from that. I got to give a shout out to the credit union that did the scam presentation with me at the high school a couple of days later. And that went very well. I thought it was going to be a little bigger audience, but it was just the high school staff, but pretty well received and kind of fell in line with a couple of things that we had just happened a couple of days before that. Since then, we've been pretty busy with the storms. I sat at home with no cell phone service or internet coverage and thought everything was cool. And I started having people show up at my house. I want to know why I wasn't calling them back or texting them back. The reason was I didn't know. As a matter of fact, I didn't know things were as bad with the phones or the internet as they were. So obviously, we've been pretty busy over the weekend and early into this week with trees down, power lines, widespread power outages in the county. The undersheriff and I got around yesterday, discovered a gas leak in Lincoln, just by our noses and driving through. It was significant enough that it made me nervous, and it was right in front of the nursing home and the Marathon gas station. So, you know, of all times to have a gas leak, as we're recovering from one storm, another disaster, maybe they're moving, who knows. Lots of trees are still covered in ice up there, and that's what concerns us about what's going on out there right now, is there's still a lot of weight on those trees, and
Some of them have been compromised, and some of the power lines been compromised by the last storm, so we're a little nervous about this storm, and I'm sure, emergency manager Rice, if he's up there, he will probably give a presentation on that shortly. So yesterday, we had our 911 authority board meeting and the directors here, but we had a regular meeting. Nothing out of sorts, except that we had a kind of a robust conversation about our response to the storm the other day. Carol, we had an opioid committee meeting not so long ago. I forget what the date it was, but that's something I've been sitting in on the last couple, and they welcomed me in there and asked for some input. And as a matter of fact, they gave me some homework to go away with and come back with some answers, and I did. I don't know that necessarily they were the answers that they wanted to hear or expected to hear, but I got that back to them. The questions revolve basically around what's going on in Iosco County with their opioid money and what they're doing. And what they would like to do with some of our money is it relates to prisoners in Iosco County Jail. Right now, we're working on is a few things. Our lobby and deputy's room is just about done. Dave's over there right now wrapping up, putting up monitors and computers and things like that. It's pretty well done. If you get a chance, stop over and take a look. It's pretty nice. You know, it's got a little bit of paint and flooring goes a long ways for improving the looks of things. I mentioned to the personnel committee this morning that I'm looking to hire a part-time employee. Anything different than I do pretty much every summer, except for instead of putting them out on marine patrol, marine or marine patrol, I'm looking to backfill the spots in the jail and in the at the desk with that position. I don't think it's anything that's going to affect my budget at all, but I just want to give you a heads up on that. And probably the next meeting I'll present to you about a taser project I'm working on. I was kind of hoping to have it ready for this one, but it's kind of got delayed with everything else this weekend. But it's a 5-year taser program to replace our tasers along with a new training protocol to go along with those and all of our use support protocols all wrapped up into one. And it's a virtual reality program that comes with taser, with the program and the product and a bunch of training modules. And you know, the big sell for them is that it's all into one. So instead of sending our people all over the state of Michigan to get training on use supports and different products, you can do it all in-house with one project. So when I get that up and running, considering that it gets approved and bought and here, I'll have somebody come over, take a look at that, and we can strap on the headset and see what it is that we're looking at.
You can see, test it out.
I think someone's gonna take the taser.
Not me.
Commissioner Johnson has already agreed to sign up for, to take a taser ride. I took one when they first became legal in Michigan about 20 years ago. I took one. I'll never take one again, and you'll never get near me with one of those again. My word to anybody is if somebody says stop or I'm going to tase you, just do it. Just do it and get your hands up and get it over with quick, because it's bad. It's not, there's nothing comfortable about it. And I will never do it again. As a matter of fact, I have post-traumatic stress from the sounds of those things. Luckily, the new models don't have the clacking sound that the old ones do. These ones are pretty much silent, but
That makes it better.
I don't know. I really do. I hate the sound of those things, and I dread it. I dread it. And you know, I've deployed taser at least 3 times in my career on some subjects, and they should listen, I guess, because you get compliance real quickly. There's not a whole lot of argument about it. Compliance is not really questionable. And I usually like to end off on something a little more light nature. When I was down to a MIRMA conference recently, I ran into a retired commissioner from Otsego County who claimed to be the longest serving elected official in Michigan. And I said, there's no way, I got you. So we compared notes for a few minutes, and I lost. But I argued, and he said, no, I know Carolyn. So we talked about Carolyn a little bit, and the backdrop of it is wherever I'm going to these meetings around the state, I'm running into people that know Carolyn Brumman from committees that she sat on. And I just want to say we really have a jewel here that's very well known and well respected around the state of Michigan. Everywhere I go, I hear the same thing. Yeah, well deserved, Carol.
Yes, for sure.
Quick question, the undersheriff last time was talking about a lot of training.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't ask him a question. How many hours does a deputy need in continuous ed per year?
So there's a very good question because it's very complicated, but I'll break it out real quick. Every
every year you have to qualify in handgun. That's always been the case. So however many hours that takes, 2-3 hours, we typically qualify twice or 3 times a year, depending on. Now, as of last year, they incorporated 24 hours required by the state of Michigan in 2 different categories, outside of your firearms training. So you have to have 8 hours in what they call mandatory, which is a little more restricted on what your training is. This year, it concentrates strictly on behavioral health and mental health issues, and then another 12 hours. So the 8 plus 12 is 24. The 12 hours, you have a little bit of discretion on what you can use. They call it agency needs. So you can spread it out on whatever you want, as long as it fits in their category and is MCOLS approved. Our complaint has always been with MCOLS is, yeah, go ahead and mandate the training, but if you're gonna do that, you're gonna have to give us some money to do it. They have done that. So they backed that up, and now they're requiring us to fulfill that with that. And I've been in discussions with the treasurer's office on how to manage the money associated with that, because you can use it kind of broadly. You can use it for costs of tuition, travel, and even backfill of overtime for employees that go to training, as long as it's approved through this. The dilemma is we don't always know that it's approved until we get the okay from the state and they've already attended it. So there's a little bit of adjustment. We're gonna take care of some of these things with a line item adjustment through the treasurer's office to accomplish that. But it's a good question, and then anything above and beyond that you want people to go, that you need, specialty training, and that doesn't fit those categories, you may have to do. So bare minimum, 24 hours a year now. Yep.
Okay, any more questions for Scott? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Committee reports, we'll start with Craig. Nothing, Craig. I already reported my committee today, so.
NEMCOG was canceled. I attended the TBTA meeting, transportation meeting, which Ms. Pace and them have talked about contracts up and going, and they're ready to go with it. And it seems to be the only problem they can foresee is gotta find some more drivers, so. They need work. And CMH will be here next meeting to give us an update of theirs. That's all
Carolyn.
As the sheriff indicated, we had the 911 board meeting. One of the other things that just come forward, that is the tower at Black River. The new antenna, it should improve coastal reception, and we'll see when it gets up. ACCOA may be opened in June of this year. I don't know. I did meet with the Humane Society of Government Entities, and we're going to meet again, and they would like to do a presentation to our board, and that will be happening. I don't have a date for it yet. They don't have a date for it yet. The opioid committee is doing this presentation. Well, they were having a presentation done on behalf of the opioid committee. It is how to utilize the Narcan. We did it last November. It is going to be Tuesday, April 29th at 6 p.m. in the education classroom for EMS. Everybody will be there. And the community is invited. We will be having posters going up shortly. April 13th through the 19th is National Telecommunications Week. And sounds like, oh, well, that's something that must happen in big cities or something. They're very active 911. We've been particularly active recently. But they're doing a great job, and they're part of that National Telecommunications Group. We have not heard anything further on the award with the $100,000 opioid request, but we're not out of the ballgame yet. So you're not out, but you're still in. So I'm always hopeful when there's money being handed out, you know that. So we'll just wait and see.
Okay. I see we got Scott Rice.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead. Scott, are you ready?
I am, sir.
You have the floor.
Okay. Well, look out the window. Mother Nature's taking it out on us again. So what we got is this. This all started Saturday night, Sunday. It was the wind and the ice. We got about 0.1 to 0.2 inches of ice on all the trees and the wires. At one time, Monday morning, we only had 50% of the county with electrical power. Now we're down to, or we're up to between 85 and 90% of the county has power. School is back open today. However, they released the elementary kids at 1:10 and the junior, senior high schools at 1:40. Supposed to change over to rain later today, 30-mile-an-hour winds. We're in a winter weather advisory till 5. We did the local and state declaration yesterday with the state of Michigan. One of the things we're getting out of that is a chainsaw crew from Grayling National Guard. They're sending us 2 teams of 4 with a backhoe and or a bobcat, chainsaws, and all their machinery and equipment. John got FirstNet AT&T coming. They're going to put towers or cows up in Caledonia Township, Elkona Township, and the ARA site. EMS runs are up. We're already up to 4 for the day. Tuesday we had 10, Monday we had 10, Sunday we had 4, Saturday we had 4. Caledonia's got a shelter open 24/7 serving food. South Shore Fire, their community room is open. I'm in touch with Jesse from the Road Commission twice a day. Curran out there off 72 west of 65 is their problem area. Also, Hubbard Lake on the west and the north side is another big snarly problem. And we closed the shelter at the elementary school when we opened up school today. We are in far better shape than our neighbors. Alpena was 100% no electricity. Presqu'île was 100% no internet. Otsego, Gaylord got hit again. They were 90 to 95% no electricity. Mount Morency's in bad shape. They have requested a IMT management team to come help them get things in order. Oscoda's coming back online. They're at about 50 to 60% power restored at the moment. They're releasing water from the Mayo Dam and all the dams downriver from there so that we don't have any problems with the rain and the melting of the snow. And that's about it in a nutshell.
What kind of traffic are you seeing at the warming centers and stuff like that?
The one at the elementary school, nobody has spent the night to the best of our knowledge. It was open to the public, unsupervised. Nobody spent the night, but people came in, got warmed up. Yesterday, they opened up the high schools so that people could shower and use those facilities. There was a couple dozen that came through. There's 4 or 5 people spending overnight up in Caledonia Township. But during the day, they're having 100 plus for breakfast. Dinner time, they got 30 to 50, they would estimate over the last 3 nights.
Okay.
South Shore, far less, but they're open. South Shore said they're going to stay open until all the electricity is restored in the county.
Okay. Anybody got any more questions for Scott? Go ahead.
I don't have a question, but I think it's noteworthy that Scott saw to it that we had cots at, correct me if I'm wrong, but the elementary school and at Caledonia, I believe.
Yes, when the school called me and said they wanted a shelter, I called the Red Cross, went down to Tawas, got the trailer. The trailer just left here. That was one of the reasons I was delayed. They're going to send that trailer now to Posen to set up a shelter there. And we left 9 or 10 cots behind in Caledonia Township.
Okay, what are you hearing from other agencies as far as like aid for EMS or any of our services? Are you getting any kind of request for that?
We have not as of yet. Everybody around us has been pretty busy. My Michigan and Alpena, they were getting very low on diesel fuel for their hospital generator. They got fuel yesterday morning. They had 2 days left. Alpena, the city is almost 100% back, power restored. The hospital's up and running back to normal.
They got their diesel fuel delivery. And right now till 3 o'clock, they have a trailer in the parking lot near the annex building, and they are refilling portable oxygen bottles for residents up there. I've had a couple inquiries about that here locally, and I've directed them up there, and they said that's fine. They'll take their empty tanks and go north. At all times, we had at least 6, if not 7 of the 9 gas stations open, either with fuel or with power or both. 4 out of the 5 Dollar Generals were open. Both grocery stores were open. As far as I know, nobody's told me different from when I made my inquiries. And school was only closed Monday and Tuesday this week.
Okay, any more questions for Scott? Thanks for the update, Scott. Really appreciate it.
All right, you're welcome. If anybody's got questions, you got my number, give me a call.
You got it.
Thank you.
I'd like to, since the 911 director's here, maybe she wants to say a little.
I was going to, I was going to make that next. If there's something you wanted to comment on with activity.
No, I mean, it was just a real busy weekend. The call volume was up quite a bit. I haven't run the numbers yet, but we're still getting calls. When I left, we had gotten a power line that was down in the roadway from this next batch of weather that's come through. So they're working on that. The call volume right now is not nearly what it was this weekend. I came in Saturday night for over 3 hours till I had a dispatcher came in to work overtime overnight. And then I came back Sunday and worked a little over 8 hours in there with them. Just the call volume of trees down, power lines down. We've got a lot of calls on power lines down that were not sparking or arcing, and usually that's when we're gonna take action. So we were referring people to call ComEd with those, and then we found out ComEd's telling everybody to call us with all of the power lines down. So, yeah, that's something that I'm gonna have a conversation with them about and get our story straight of who's supposed to call where, because.
Well, it's an unprecedented event for us, and we're absolutely gonna learn a lot.
Oh, absolutely.
And so some follow-up meetings are gonna streamline and improve all of our processes for sure.
100%, 100%. You know, there's things, even communications within the agencies. I just wrote down that I didn't know that we had warming center at South Shore. And those are things that we need to know in 911 because they're gonna call us first. So these are things that need to be communicated to us, so we know where to tell people where to go when they're calling us for help. But otherwise, you know, things got handled. There was no major loss of life, no major structures taken down. We did have a house struck by lightning, but it did not burn, so everything is okay. So all in all, we fared very well, compared to, like Scott said, our neighbors. Call volume was up, we handled it, and we had hot coffee if anybody wanted to come in and, you know, but that was it, just a lot of calls, lots of people calling 911 because they didn't know what to do and they couldn't get through to anybody else. Internet was down, phones were down, so they called us looking for help. So just, you know, I think as an agency, as a county, we need to do better as far as getting information out to the citizens on what resources are available to them and communicating with each other on what resources are available and what to do and where people can go, so we know what to tell people when they call us.
Well, like I said, these follow-up meetings, we're gonna be able to iron out a lot of
Absolutely.
things.
Yeah, this is a long.
Unprecedented, you know.
Oh, yeah.
We have been in this a while, so, I mean, in a rural areas, 911 probably the first place somebody's gonna call.
Oh, absolutely,
They're
absolutely.
not calling the
I
emergency
mean,
managers, they're not calling
No.
commissioners, they're gonna call.
They're gonna call 911.
So you need to know, like what
Yeah.
you're saying, I know I'm repeating what you said, but I
Yeah.
think you're the tip of the spear here when people wanna know what's happening.
Yeah, and I mean, and for anything, you know, if people can't get through to anybody else, they call us right away. I mean, we had 911 calls, just people asking what the road conditions were like. You know, where can we get gas? Just everything. So we started a running list in there on gas stations that were open and how much gas they had, and we kept calling them. So we knew what was out and what had gas, and not just for the citizens, but for our emergency vehicles, you know? So if the deputies needed gas, we can say, okay, this is where you can go, this is who has gas. So we know what resources, because it was very obvious to me, even I went out Sunday, I was like, ooh, I should probably fill up my car. So I went out to Harrisville, and the line of cars coming down 23, the only time I've seen this many people in Harrisville, and I haven't lived here that long, but was Harmony Weekend. And I was like, well, crap, that's not good. So they knew we had resources and we were about to be depleted, which
Yeah.
we were quickly.
So part of our, what to do different in the future will be anticipating surrounding communities coming in. Cause talking to most people who are down, everybody's from Alpena.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, we had, state police net calling us from Alpena going, do you guys have fuel?
Yeah.
We had Oscoda County Sheriff's Department calling us going, do you guys have fuel? Cause they didn't have anything out
Right.
there. So, we're trying to scramble to find fuel for our emergency vehicles who, honestly need it more than Joe Citizen at this point, because if you have an emergency, we need to get to you. And if we don't have gas, I don't think the deputies or the ambulance is, keen on riding a bike or a scooter or something in this weather, so we need to get there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, thanks.
Something that she shared with us at a 911 meeting, and that was the response, and if you share with them, of our deputies and their chainsaws and so on.
oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, and I've seen this in working 911 up in the UP. We've seen this before. This is a yearly event for us, ice storms, taking down the lines and that. So it's something I was used to, but I could tell nobody else was, but everybody came together. We had deputies out there. The law calls weren't coming in for 911. We didn't have, nobody was getting robbed or anything, like the sheriff, nobody was getting murdered during the ice storm, but, there were people that couldn't get out of their streets or subdivisions because they had trees down across. That means we also can't get ambulances into them, where we had a lot of elderly citizens that had no power, and very much like the UK noticed here, we have people that know where they live and are self-sufficient. They're gonna take care of themselves, and a bunch of stubborn old folks that are not leaving their house. They don't care, they're staying there. So, and I mean, I get it, I probably would too, but we can't get to them if there's a tree down blocking the roadway. So we had a deputy out there with his chainsaw. Okay, I'm gonna go over here now. And so he was cutting up trees. So everybody really comes together, I think, in a situation like this. And all in all, it worked pretty well, other than, lack of some communication on where we could go or what we could do, which, like you said, this is a great exercise now to go through. Okay, this is what happened. How can we do it better next time?
Absolutely.
Otherwise, I think it went pretty well. Everybody, stepped up and did what they had to do, so.
I just had a question real quick. Did Lincoln, were both of those gas stations open? Or just?
Not at first, no. They opened up eventually. But at first, when, everything was down, the only ones we had up at first were in Harrisville, and Barton City, and Glenny. Those ones had power. And I think Greenbush Market too, yeah. And then Lincoln and the Lincoln Mart and Thick and Sons, they came up eventually, but they all ran out because people were coming in, and we had troopers say he went there, and there's the guys with the big construction trucks with the big gas tanks that they could fill up there. They were filling those tanks up, so it was really depleting the gas supply quickly. I mean, by the time I left, I think I left at 6 o'clock on Sunday night. We were back down to basically no gas in the county. Very little. There was diesel, but that was about it.
Premium.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yep. So all the cheap stuff was gone. Yeah, but otherwise, it went well.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, sure.
10 gas
Adam.
stations.
Yes, sir.
I got one more thing, one great piece of news that I failed to tell you earlier. Long story short is I went to a meeting down at CMU back in late February for our NEMT, our non-emergency medical transport conference. A lady from Molina Healthcare called me yesterday. Molina is one of the 4 bigger Medicaid insurance providers for our residents here in Northeast Michigan.
Okay.
She said, you guys are in a lot of trouble up there and I want to help, and I'd like to donate a generator to your county. And I said, okay, donate or give, or how are you going to word this? She said, you tell me what you want. So I got talking with Craig about it. We put our heads together roughly. I made a request to her. We'll see where it goes. But I said, a 35 kilowatt generator on a trailer gas or diesel, it doesn't matter. And then that way we can put it where we think it will best meet our needs based on the circumstances that we're presented with. She'll get back with me soon, she said, but she was very ecstatic, very happy. It didn't sound like she wanted to donate, like a single house portable generator. But she was very ecstatic on the phone.
Yeah, nice. So
So,
we get back to the gas station, get them power or something.
yeah, so a gas station or a shelter or something along those lines is my thought of.
Okay,
All right,
Thanks.
so when I know more, I'll let you know.
yeah, perfect.
Thank you.
Yep. Communications in your packets, review at your leisure. Last section of public comment, which they all ran away. Commissioner, additional comments, concerns?
I have one quick question, if that's okay.
Sure.
What is the protocol on closing the building or leaving early due to road conditions? Because the last time around, when the email went out, everybody was at home, nobody was at their computers, even elected officials didn't know. And I don't know what, we used to have a
Last
system
time when,
when we closed down the building due to bad weather.
so it's been a while, right? Yeah, we have a new policy on that. It's,
What is it?
so, Scott.
Is it road commission?
Scott Stevenson and, Jesse from the road commission do a report on what the road, cause they know what the roads are like. And they coordinate with, who is it? Sheriff?
Are the schools involved in
No, it's not schools.
Okay.
But regardless, those two make decisions. And then they call, me, and we go, okay, we're gonna close this building, and then, sorry, to you, they call you, you're the one.
No.
No, they will, they will.
That was all
When
written
was the
down.
last
I thought
time
we
it
had
happened?
ready.
It was just like
the last time.
When did it happen?
like 6 weeks ago.
Yeah, this happened after that. It was the committee, the building safety committee, what is that called? Is that what it is?
We had a whole thing on it.
Yeah, it was a whole deal on it. They presented it right at
Didn't they have an email too that was sent out?
pretty sure.
I only saw that very first one that was done up.
We started to, but it was it had been done, and I think it was after that last time.
Are they going to call me then?
Yeah, you're first, because you're the one that calls everybody, tells them.
I
If
don't
it's
know. It was
me,
kind of security
if it's
meeting.
me, everybody signs up for a text thing, or
You have a
whatever,
list
or
of-
you have a big
Yeah.
group chat that says, building closed, bam, now everybody knows. And the email goes out in a mass email, because I don't have mine, but 90% of us have
That's
emails on
what
our
did
phone.
not work. That's what did not work.
So, but also, I think if you work here, you should sign your text number up and be on that and have a big group chat for everybody here, building closed. I don't know how else to do it. You can't announce that on the radio.
There used to be department heads or elected officials, and then they would communicate and let their employees know. But this last time it was by email, but by the time we got the email, I mean, everybody was at home and stuff, so people were driving in not knowing that the building was closed because they haven't gone to their computers. You can't do it by email because everybody's home and no one has access to the computers. So it'd have to be by a call.
They're not like me and look at their emails at home all the time.
They don't have it on their
I'm
phone.
just
They
kidding.
don't
That's
have
what I
it.
mean.
No
They're
one
not
does.
silly like me and have their work on their phone.
Yeah, just a few of the elected officials.
So I don't know, I could say that we should do a big text, I don't know what else, big text group chat would be the best way to do it.
Cause I thought John was looking.
You send it
into doing
once.
Some kind of a mass
We
text.
talked about it some, but at the last committee meeting, it was, those two were gonna make the determination, let you know. Between you and Scott, you could say, let's do elected officials, whatever it is, building's closed. And then, he recommends to you, we close the building, you make their communications to however you do it. I don't know how you do it. And I don't know how that
Me and
goes down.
Trina call
So,
every.
I think it's a little bit silly to call every single person. It needs to be a better,
One of the ways. I think I've
Yeah,
seen it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So I have, I'm looking at a mass notification system for 911. That we would have in office that we can send out mass notifications for incidents like this when we need to get things out to the public. And I believe we have a demo with them at my 911 board meeting in June. And I believe we can set up groups and where we can input text or telephone numbers and send out text messages to groups. So if we end up getting that system, that's something that we'll have in 911 where we're there 24/7. The sheriff can tell us and we can set up a group for county administrators and that and employees.
That would be
That it would,
wonderful.
we could send out a message. So I'll keep you posted
Okay,
on, if we end up with this system and then,
that would be great.
yeah, we could utilize that.
In the meantime, if they can just call me so that me and Trina can get the calls out to the department heads like we were doing,
I get
in the time being.
KJC from schools.
And then also if, the email wanted to be sent out, we can send an email to text. To phone numbers, so we could put a list together of employee emails.
I like all these suggestions. Here's the policy that was made up by the building, but I'll read the part. Let's see here. All employees are expected to work at the normal and inclement weather, disasters, and other adverse conditions, and severe weather situations such as extreme icy roads or blizzard. The board of commissioners chairperson, look at me, or appointed commissioner, in consultation with the director of Alcona County Road Commission and Alcona County Sheriff, may officially close the building for all or part of the normal workday. The sheriff's office will notify the county clerk, who will then notify each department head on a news, radio, closure, whatever, but you can have a copy of that right there.
And the radio won't post. they won't-
Probably not, but
They don't. do
just
it
put in there
anymore.
just in case they want to participate. But I like all the other suggestions for reaching out. It's good. Thanks for bringing it down, Jack. But because the courts are on that,
Yeah, that's how we ended up hearing it. They posted it on Facebook
yeah.
and I'm calling Cheryl, are we off today? And then Stephanie's calling Cheryl, what's going on? Are we closed today?
Yeah,
And we dropped it from the
so,
sheriff.
once again, we'll have an opportunity to learn and grow.
Yeah.
And figure
Yeah,
out
no,
how
I
to do
just
this
wanna
better.
know the protocol so that, you know, we know what we're doing, so.
In changing
That's
times
what-
like we've just seen, expect changing actions.
Yeah,
Sorry.
A lot of that
I
lately.
knew you.
yes.
But besides me jumping in the Hummer and driving to everybody's house, you know, and like in this last case, we closed the building, the, half the phones didn't work either, so.
Yeah.
I guess if there's
I
like.
like that idea.
Yeah.
I like the Hummer idea.
I'm in.
I walked in when 911 was saying that there's a possibility, but I think that takes some heat off of you. If,
No, I like that.
you know, we're,
Mhm.
and I heard missed part of it, but I know, especially if someone, like, we had court the next day, and I know we were anxious to know what was gonna happen.
As
So
soon
the
as
sheriff let
possible.
us know, like, I got a call or text from him like at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, so it was early.
Yeah, that was an early
It was
one.
early.
Mhm.
really
Well,
early.
I mean, but
So I
that's
could
not
text
the
everybody in my
gauge.
office.
Because here's the thing, if it happens, you know, if you try to do it from 9 to 5 and then everything clears up and it's fine the next day, I'm gonna get 1,000 calls to say, why is the building closed? You know,
Well, this was, 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, that day, you know what I mean?
that's what I mean, that's why you got it 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning,
Yeah.
because things, progressed to that point at that time. It's always hard to tough
So
call.
I think one question that comes up, and I think this maybe what Sheila had asked a second ago too, is when it's during the day, oh, I don't need it. Oh, okay.
During the day.
During the day is, used to be 2 elected officials, but now I think it's this policy here, whereas the sheriff and the.
Correct, and anybody can call Scott and say, hey, what are we doing about the building? You know, because Scott and Jesse are the ones that say, yeah, road conditions are terrible, because they both have feet on the ground out there. So, I mean,
Well, I know that I called the road commission and asked them when this all happened, and I talked to Renee, and Renee, I said, hey, you guys aren't closed? She goes, no. I said, well, I think we are. She goes, you are? And I said, well, I think Jesse was the one that determined it with the sheriff's department, and she didn't know anything about it.
well, she may not, she
Yeah.
might not, she's probably not in the loop.
Right.
It's just an informal conversation with Jesse and Scott, say, yeah,
Okay.
these are bad enough.
Okay.
Interesting part is, we've had AT&T and Verizon issues in this county quite a bit lately. I think that maybe some of our elected officials and maybe the sheriff should get a county paid Starlink or something like that, because that's not gonna go. The Verizon and AT&T issues in the county lately have been horrific. AT&T is doing a couple of deployables to 3 or 4 locations today, hopefully. I know they're heading up from downstate. They have a bunch of them in Alpena, but
in instances like this, I think communication is, most necessary, so I think some of us might want to get Starlink for these instances where we have issues, because we have battery backups on a lot of our towers, relay stations, this, that, the other, and when those battery backups die, if they haven't gotten a generator there by a certain amount of time, we lose all communication.
I wonder if, is there a number we can have staff also call, I mean, at the sheriff's office or your office, that, so it's not 911, obviously, but you know what I mean, that they can,
Your recorded message.
so that there's, and I hate to flood your office with calls or.
Or the jury line, like something like the jury
Something like
line.
the- But there's no one in the clerk's office or whatever,
To do it.
there would have to be a line, somebody who's working 24/7
Mhm.
who can put this message out, so that staff could even, if there's, I'd rather they can call rather than waiting for a call, you know what I mean, because that might even be an idea, I'm sorry, if I'm speaking out of turn.
How often you
We all
change it? I know, we just took all of Robert's not even in the house anymore.
Sorry.
But,
Do you want to adjourn real quick?
now let's keep this because everybody, you know,
We're all
it's fun.
safe here.
It's a good time, and if somebody can yell me about it later, it's fine.
Additional comments.
Well, the jury line, how often does that get
That
updated?
gets updated as they're scheduled, right, so that, I mean, it can be updated every day, but the thing is, somebody has to be in this building to do that.
From the landline.
Oh, yeah,
So if
it's
it
just
disappears.
made at 2 o'clock in the morning, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess my question is, like, right now, during the day, I come back from lunch, and one of the offices is like, they just took all the UPS trucks off the roads, and we all know it's bad out there. Do we have to have Scott and Jesse involved in that to determine, or can it just be two elected officials
For during the day.
for during the day?
Were you there the day that we were having it?
I must not have been. Uh-uh.
Well, okay, now I'm going to adjourn, so. Any more commissional additional comments, concerns? Okay, we'll adjourn the meeting until Wednesday, April 16th. But I'm not saying go away, but I don't wanna.
Now we're gonna violate.
I know, but
You're not gonna
we
hold
can,
it,
we
right?
can, you're all right, stop the meeting if you would, Steph.
Yeah, turn that thing off, please.
That's not gonna do anything.